And I'll go ahead and request remote just in case I need it. Okie doke. So what's going on?
Okay, well, what I have here is an asphalt area,
Okay,
and in the middle of it is an island. And when I try to hatch it, it hatches everything, including the island. And I just want the asphalt hatched.
yep, all right.
So go to draw, hatch, standard hatch.
Okay, you might you might consider for asphalt, instead of that ANSI 31, pull that down and choose solid. It's all the way up at the top. And then set its color. And go ahead down to the bottom and choose select color. One more. And then take like the, yeah, like that one right there. Okay. Now, let me tell you what is going to happen, how it works. You've got in that middle upper part where it says boundaries, you can either pick an internal point and it will look for boundaries that surround that. That's one way of doing it. The other is to select the entities that you want to consider. And that would be where you would pick that outside boundary and the inside island. Now, over on the right of that is this thing called island detection. And it shows you what is the way it normally does. When it's normal, it hatches the first outer area and doesn't hatch the next inner area. And then if it has inner areas inside of it, it will hatch those, and it keeps going, you know, skipping every other one.
Yeah.
The one that you might have, well, outer would be, well, you can see the previews of what it would look like.
Yeah.
So usually you would choose normal. Okay, and then now you would need to select the entities that you want. So you can click that and then select each of those. Select that one, and then
Oh, shoot, I forgot to, I've got to be in
the model.
Yeah, in the model when I'm not. Let me get out of this.
Just press escape. There you go. There you go. Now
Let me do it again. Okay, that stayed the same. Click that. And I click select entities.
aha, I see right now possibly an issue. Go ahead though. Click that and then click the other part. And then click the inner island. There you go.
And enter.
Yes, sir.
That worked.
Okay, now select it and send it to the back. There you go. Now,
Excellent.
if there had been like a little bitty gap at one of the corners or something, it would have flooded out and it would have missed it. And then there's another thing too that I like to do when I'm doing things like that is if, and I'll show you here, I'm going to select it and erase it. But like sometimes if there's a lot of line work and stuff crossing and maybe you can't really pick what's going to be chosen, like there's two things here. There's one little short one, and there's this longer one. See, that's that little one.
Yeah,
It's the bigger one. But normally, like, you would turn that into a single closed polyline by doing
Just-
join nearest.
just by hitting join.
Yeah, that join nearest, but they are joined because we saw that it worked. Okay, but if you ever do that and it appears to leak out or something, or says it can't find a closed boundary, that's the first thing to check, is to make sure that those are closed figures. They don't have to be, they don't have to be a single figure. They just have to form a closed boundary. Now, suppose though you do this, say there's a whole lot of lines and stuff going on. And if you draw a hatch, if I can get to it here, standard hatch. And let's say like I like to sometimes just pick an internal boundary. So if you pick that, you see how it finds that line that crosses and stops.
Yeah, right.
So you could do them, click that one and click that one, and it joins them together. You could do that, but then you got to then come down here and pick this one. That down here at the bottom, there it is. So that would work like that. Then you hit enter and you'd say, okay. And like I said, it turns it into this single entity. But sometimes if there's a whole lot of mess going on, it's easier to isolate the things that you're trying to hatch. So if you go up to view and choose show hide by selection, and you want to isolate by selection. So if you isolate, oh, what's going on? Here we go. Oh, you know what? You've got a bunch of things going on here. Because these are leftover boundaries from before. And we get back to, okay, we've got this one. And I know you didn't draw those, but every time you do a hatch, and like what we did, we drew the hatch and then just erased the hatch, but we left the boundary. And so that's what's still being selected.
Oh. How are you getting rid of them?
I'm just selecting them and then hitting delete. Let me see, I've got multiples here. Oh. There's a point in there and we don't want to get rid of the point. So those two things are fine. All right, so it looks like they're yeah, it looks like we're down to where we need to be now. So what I like to do is, and even if whether I'm doing a hatch or even if I'm doing like I'm going to do a join nearest, if I isolate, I show hide by selection, I'm going to isolate by selection. I'm going to select all of these things.
Could you do isolate by layer too?
You could, if that's the only thing that's on that layer.
It is, it's on a driveway layer.
All right, so that would be, let's just isolate the layer. All right, there we go. So now, now this, that's one that was one of the extra ones. Okay, so now we've got that. We've got, looks like you've got some. Oh, you got some interesting things in there. Looks like you've got some points that are still showing, but that's okay. So at this point, I would probably do a join nearest. And I'll just put like a small, that should work. All right, so now we've got that and we've got that. And just to test. Okay, so that's what it was. All of these other things that are left, looks like they're points. Looks like down here's something. Yeah, that's a point. Anyway, I'm gonna put your stuff back. We'll leave the points on for now. You got a whole bunch of points all along that feature. So there's like 28 points in there. Are those? Let me turn this back on for just a second. And let's do that. Okay, nope. So you got a bunch of points all along that feature. Did you create those points?
Yeah, that's how I shot it. I shot in the edge of pavement.
Okay.
I can freeze the points though. I guess I don't need them.
No, that's fine. They don't have. I've got blocks and points. They don't show up like a Carlson point.
Let's look at the model drawing for a second and see what they look like.
Well, we've isolated. All right, there you go. So, but that's on a layer. It's also a layer driveway. Now, see, if I turn all layers on, why aren't they showing up? Did you freeze the points? No.
No, if they were erased, they wouldn't be in the model space either, would they?
No. See, that's a point. Layer driveway. Let's see here. I need to undo. There we go. Well, they'll be fine. They won't have any problem. All right, so if we isolate by layer, there we see that way it clears everything out. So now when you draw your hatch, which is here, and you pick an internal point, as long as you've got this set over here to normal, make sure that this is checked on so that it does what you're expecting it to do. Then you can pick an internal point. But there's one other thing I wanted to do is, remember how I told you to select it and move it to the back?
Yeah,
Well, you can set that right here as part of when it creates send to back. You can go ahead and do it
okay,
well. And you can set a certain transparency level, et cetera, et cetera. Do we want to retain the boundaries? Now, that's what created those extra polylines.
yeah,
And so if we turn that off, it won't create them. Sometimes
okay,
you want, sometimes you want to, because you can select that boundary and change the shape of it, move the vertices around and that sort of stuff, and it would update the hatch. But sometimes it will create a boundary. Let's say you've got, patterned lines, it'll create that boundary, and it might be a continuous line. And it will still show there, yours were both continuous, so they didn't show up. They were just one over top of the other.
yeah,
So just be aware of what that does as well. So now we've send to back, normal island. We pick a point and just click a point. That previews, we hit enter. And then we say, okay. And now it's there, and we restore layers. Okay.
that, the house and the shed, do you think I should, hatch those as well?
I don't know if I'd hatch them necessarily. One of the things that I like to do with buildings is, let's make a new layer here for real quick, called just make a new one called building hatch. And we'll go ahead and set it to that same color. And whoops, let's change that to make it our current. So one thing you can do, and it depends, because this shed's little, it's kind of small. Let's see what it looks like though overall plotted. I'm going to offset, and I'm going to offset a distance of, say, here to here. I'm going to select this guy and go here. Uh-oh. I need to what is that? Need to turn that into a closed polyline. Is this a closed? No, so we'll the same thing there. All right, so now they're closed. Let's offset. I'll keep that same distance. Yeah. Let's offset. And offset again, let's see, 2.5. Now select this, go there. And we'll take this and go there. Now, if you do this hatch, and we're going to change it to be that NC 31. What scale is your drawing?
50 scale, I think.
All right, so let's see what this, well, let's see what it does. Let's see what it does for one. If I pick an internal point, if I pick this point here, all right, so now they're there, but so I'm going to now double click and change this scale. Let's see, maybe we need to make it 50. 50 is a little too big. We'll make it, say, 20. That'll be better. And let's change this angle to be, no, it doesn't. See, what I'm trying to do with this is we would select, see, I'm trying to get those little building hatches that look like this,
Yeah,
but they don't work over here because it was all closed. I would have to, it's not worth that effort. So let me, so let's try that instead. We'll just do it as a, without that offset. Let's just try it with that building. Let's try it again here. Whoops. Hatch. There we go. All right, so now we'll,
okay, and there's one more up on the right.
well, actually, you know what I want to do is I want to do it as a separate command for each one because I'm going to change the angle. Independently. All right, so now let's make this guy. Let's give it about a 30 degree and see what that looks like. That'll work. They may all work out that they'll have the same. That looks all right. But you want those hatches to be on that particular style of hatch. You want it to be sort of at a 45 to the line work. So that
Okay.
looks good here. This one's not quite right. That's probably a little too much. Let's back it down a little bit. There we go. And actually, instead of 20 scale, let's go ahead and give it 30 since we're not doing the size. That's maybe. That may look, okay, let's see what that does here. No, let's try. $30. That'll work. That one, I'm inclined to leave it 40. There we go. Oh, and since it is a hatch and it's really to be minor, I'm going to select each one of those. Actually, not even that. I'm going to go to the layers, and for building hatch, I'm going to change its line weight to be something really skinny. Let's make sure it's also in the viewport. There we go. So now that'll, see, it's not as heavy as these other lines. So that'll be nice, and in the background, yet it still indicates the building there. And I would suggest maybe this one is on layer building. I don't think this is going to be able to change.
There's a well layer, I think, it could go on. No, I guess I didn't create a layer for it.
Well, we can fix that.
Oh, that reminds me, I want to send you a copy of a plat for you to look at. It has a lot of stylistic things that I would like to imitate. And not today. I mean, I'll send it to you today, but just take a look at it and see what you think.
Okay. One of the things that you can do, remember, let's put this on well. There we go. That now it's not so muddy, because we set that layer to be a smaller line weight.
Okay.
All right, so one of the things that you can do, and I'll double click back out in your paper space. So one of the things you can do now when you're, if you want to copy a bunch of styles and stuff from another drawing, is, and if you're starting from scratch on a new drawing, you just want to use that one as a base, just go ahead and open it and do a save as.
Well, no, it's a PDF. I don't have.
Oh, I see. So
It's somebody else's work.
I got it. And it's a PDF, so you can't really copy the stuff. You just want to recreate them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I would like your opinion about what you think is worth recreating and what's not.
Yeah. All righty. And now this is set the correct location or orientation.
Should be. I haven't.
Yep, looks like it. See the,
Yeah.
okay, so that was done. Okay, well, it's looking good. You know, you're going to turn into a plat artiste if you're not careful.
I don't know if I'll live long enough to do that, but I'm getting better.
Yeah, well, it's just a constant game. All righty. Anything else while we're here?
No, sir. I think that's got it.
All righty. Well, that'll be a nice freebie, nice and short.
Okay.
So, okay.
Now, I'll send you that plat when you have, probably not this week, but when you have a chance, let's talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, just let me know.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, I'll go ahead and I've recorded this, so I'll go ahead and send the link.
Okay, good.
So, all right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Talk to you later.